I'm sitting in Okinawa, the executive officer of the battalion, and they call the battalion and take 3 companies to do frequent wind and eagle pull, evacuation of Saigon. I'm left behind as the rear echelon and reinforcement. I'm the reserves. So I've got 1 company back there, Company D, Captain Brown and his guys, and myself and my S3. We got a warning order. Pretty interesting, it's at 4 in the afternoon, 1600 our time, 4 for civilians. We got this warning order. Have 130 people, men's ready to go at midnight. Largest weapon you can take with you is a 40 millimeter grenade launcher. Okay. I contact the captain. We get our guys ready. We don't know where we're going. We don't know what we're going to be doing. But we get on 6 guys and go down to Kadena Air Base. We get on a C-130 and we're in the air. We figure we're probably going to go back to the embassy to recover gold because that's about the only thing that we were told was left there. Most of the Vietnamese had been evacuated. We landed in Subic Bay in the Philippines. When I got off the aircraft, I was met by a Navy captain. And he said, "Your mission, I got your mission here. Your mission is to recover the Mayaguez and return it to American control." Mayaguez? Is that what you put on the sandwich? I've never heard of the Mayaguez. It's not mayonnaise. Okay. He said, "Oh yeah." I asked him, "What's a Mayaguez?" He said, "It's a container ship. The Cambodians have captured it." Okay. We don't have any ammunition. We hadn't been armed yet. So he said, "We need to get to your armory and get ammunition and stuff." He said, "I'll call them, tell them you're coming." So my lieutenant went over to the armory to get what we thought we needed. But the ensign that was there didn't want to give it. He said, "I got 3 training missions going out tomorrow, and can't take care of you." So he called me, and I went over and said, "Look, we're not training. We're going in to recover a ship. So, well, I'll get to you when I can." About that time, the admiral showed up. He said, "Do what they say." So by the time I got back and had a quick briefing, when got back to the aircraft, we had our ammunition. The guys were getting on a C-130 again. We don't know where we're going. We all got on the aircraft and sat with my S3 and said, "Okay, we're going to recover a container ship. Let's attack this like combat in a built-up area, because we got to enter somehow from the top anyhow." So we planned to rappel onto the top of the containers, slide down over the side of those, and recover the ship that way. And we knew that everybody could do that. It was okay. With that plan, we got our guys all armed and ready to roll, issued ammunition, but we landed in Utapao, Thailand. And we got off the aircraft there. And as I walked off the aircraft, I was met by an Air Force captain. And he said, "Boy, am I glad you're here." I said, "Why is that?" "Oh, I'm the military police, and they were sending my men and I to recover the ship. And we'd never even fired an M16, but one of our helicopters crashed and 27 of our men were killed." So that would have been a major mistake to send people like that in there. He was tickled pink to see me there. I was glad to work with it. We were met up there with some the crew, part of the crew of the Greenville Victory, SS Greenville Victory, which was a sister ship of the Mayaguez. They were going to go with us, and they could operate the ship once we recovered it, which was good. Except one of them had a cast on; he'd broken his leg. I'm thinking, this guy's not going to rappel. So, we'll make it work. They kind of told us how the ship was configured, so we drew it out on the tarmac there, and we were broke into our squads. You go here, you go here. Everybody knew what they had to do. We were ready to go.
I want to pause you. We hadn't actually done a shipboarding since the war.
1812, yeah. We don't have the ropes to swing across with anymore, but we had the ropes to slide down. All I was thinking is, I've got to get on that ship somehow, keep the enemy from shooting us. That's probably the best way. I had already asked during the briefing, I asked to have the ship strafed with tear gas. I figured if I had them crying, I could get on. But that was, we're just trying to figure out, how do you do this? Combat in a built-up area, I don't know if you've ever had any experience with this, but what you'll do is you get to the stairwell and you throw a concussion grenade down. And when it goes off, then you charge down and see if there's anybody who wants to fight. Usually they don't, because they're knocked out. So that was what we'd planned to do. We had a lot of concussion grenades and, of course, regular grenades. The squads knew where they were going to go, what they had to do. So we were in good shape. We got some sleep, and then we got on a helicopter the next morning, ready to go. It's running, and then they say, get off. Why is that? 1st Battalion, 9th Marine, 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines is now landing. Now, they'd been training up in the northern training area in Okinawa. They'd been yanked out in the middle of the night, put on a bird, flown into Thailand. They were going to go to cover the island. Because the Cambodians had parked the ship, the SS Mayaguez, next to the island of Koh Tang. And that's what we're talking about now. We got off the aircraft, went into a briefing, and the battalion commander had said that this is the way we want to do things, and they'll send a squad onto the ship. We've got the ship. That was our mission. He said, well, I think we can do it. And the admiral said, no, we've been watching these guys practice. I think they should do that. So I was given I wasn't an admiral, I was an Air Force general. So we got our mission back, get my troops ready to go, but I can only take half of my group because it don't take 30 men. Because we didn't have enough room in the helicopters for all of the 29 and my people. So we decided who would go and who wouldn't, loaded them up, and we were airborne. We had to use Air Force helicopters because it was too far for a single flight. They could be refueled in flight, and Marine helicopters can't be refueled in flight. We're flying in, and in the Marine Corps, they say first is a word, and then the word gets changed. So they changed the word. They said, you're not going to go into rappel onto the ship. You're going to drop onto a destroyer that's there. Well, these huge friggin' helicopters are huge, and they got a small landing deck on the back, a helicopter platform. It's really too big for it. So what he does is he comes in, he hovers over the platform, and we jump to the platform, which is, not too bad when you consider it, but you're in ocean waves, and it's going up and down just enough that where if you jump when it's coming up, it jams your legs, and if you jump when it goes down, you get a long drop. But we managed to get everybody off. We had the Greenville Victory people with us. The guy with the cast, we managed to get him as it came down and grab him and put him ashore with us on the deck. From there, we started going toward the Mayaguez. At this point, we could see 2 helicopters down. We'd seen one blown out of the air as we came in. I had scanned the deck of the ship with my binoculars, and I was seeing these. One guy, he's sitting there eating fried rice, and he looks up like, here comes this destroyer toward him, and then we hit him with tear gas. I had a linguist, Army linguist, on the mic, on a bullhorn yell, "We're American Marines, we're going to board the ship. If you oppose us, we will kill you." And then they strafed him with tear gas. Now, put yourself in his shoes, or thongs as it would be. Is this the time to stand and fight? No. They all jumped off, got on a swift boat that was attached to the back of the boat, and headed for shore. The mistake, they went so fast that they hit a sandbar, and they were stopped. We boarded the ship. Didn't think we needed to throw any concussion grenades or anything down, and we didn't. We searched it. They were all gone. The only round that was fired was when a swab moved and a guy shot at it. little edgy. But we're dead. We're there. We've got gas masks on. We can't see for the birds. And we've learned a lot about hand and arm signals in basic school. And the Marine teaches it. But it's really tough. I mean, you're working with your hand and arm signals. And that became a major training effort component that they used from then on. They really emphasized it after I wrote my debriefing about you need to train with gas masks on. Having recovered the ship, we got the engineers and the Greenville Victory guys over, and they went down to start it up, but it wouldn't start. Well, it would start. The generator was overheating. And this guy came up and he said, we can't crank that anchor up without this generator working. So the Navy sent some people over and we cut the anchor, and they threw us a line, and we hooked it up, and it started being towed out. Captain Brown is over on the ship. He's across there, and they throw him a line, and he's got it in his hand. He's looking around, and somebody says, "Put it through the hawsel." Hold on. He looks up at him. "Put it through the hawsel." "What the hell's a hawsel?" He's asking. The guy said, "It's that hole in the side of the ship." We're Marines. We don't talk Navy. So he struck with the line through the hawsel, and we tied them together. At that point, the crew had not been recovered. They were being interviewed, being actually threatened by the Cambodians. Captain Miller told me this story. He was the captain of the Mayaguez. He said, "I was talking to this guy, and he was telling us that we were going to go to prison. We're not ever going to get out of here." And I was telling him, the Americans are not going to let this happen. And I could hear him strafing and shooting and bombing out there. And he said, "You're not leaving." And he said, then, whoom, right next to us, this building blew up. And he said, "Can you stop that?" He said, "I felt like Moses. Let my people go." So they put him on a fishing boat. I think it was a Thai fishing boat, because I didn't see what it was exactly. It was a Thai fishing boat. And they started out toward the ship, waving white flags. And the Americans' aircraft flying over saw that it was them. They got aboard the ship, and as they walked aboard the ship, the engineer for the Mayaguez looked over and saw that his anchor was gone. "You cut my anchor?" And the other engineer said, "Yeah, we cut the anchor. The generator was overheating." He said, "God damn, it's been overheating for years." From there, we're about almost a mile out by then. And the firefight had been going on, and that's when they brought the Blue 82 and dropped it. And I watched this parachute coming down, and then it went off. And that shock wave came across the water. You could see it rippling the water. And when it hit our ship, now we're a mile away, it almost knocked me down. It was something. That's the largest non-nuclear bomb in our arsenal. It's an air over ground explosion. And when it goes off, it really blows things away. It'll clear a landing zone in the middle of the jungle for sure. And they dropped that. And that kind of stopped the fight on the island. Of course, our guys are all going, "Oh my God," they're. From there, we were picked up by a seagoing tug. And the tug took us from the Mayaguez back and put us aboard the Wilson, USS Wilson. Now, Mayaguez is leaving now. It's heading out. It's going to go back to wherever it was headed. I think it was going back to Hong Kong or somewhere. I figured that out. As we got aboard the Wilson, they had us put all of our rounds in the armory, which is normal. The next morning, we were told that 3 Marines had been left on the island. And I'm on the radio. I figured we're going to go back. We're going to go get them. I've got my men. Command sent talking to me, and they said, Can you go back on the island?" I said, "Yes, sir, I can. However, we've got a problem. The ship's company jettisoned all of our ammunition. We have only the M60 machine gun rounds left. They kept those because they can fire them in their M14s. So we can go ashore. We have 6 machine guns, 12 M14s, and 6,800 rounds. They said, "You're not going back." I said, "We're going to go back. We can go back. We're going to do it if you let us do it." And the guy said, "No, you will not go back. I cannot risk anybody else." So we left them. And I just see them sitting there thinking, they're going to come get us. They're going to come get us because we're Marines. And we don't leave. Marines don't leave anyone behind. I never left anybody in Vietnam, no matter what. I didn't know them, but I was responsible for them. I felt that. That has haunted me the rest of my life. I have dreams of trying to get ammunition for them, trying to get on the shore, trying to reach them, trying, and it's a recurring dream, and it's, that's the old wake up in cold sweat. Why can't I help these kids? We couldn't help them. And I've heard a lot of things about what happened to them, but I guess we'll never really know. But we've got a great country. We've got a great military. And in this situation, the Mayaguez situation, with all of the confusion and misdirection, and in my part, it was just a little piece. But I got the job of getting the ship back, and we got it back. And it wasn't Marines. It was Marines, Air Force, Navy, and one soldier, my linguist. We did it, and we did it darn well. Yeah, we lost 41 Americans, 27 on the helicopter. That crashed with the MPs, and the rest of them in there, 13 on one helicopter. The last 41 names on the wall in D.C. It's considered the last battle of Vietnam. And I think these kids raked wearing the Vietnam service medal, but we're fighting for that, ribbon it. The only thing that changed was I thought I knew it was going to be confused. It always is confused in combat. You never have anything happen like you thought it would. The only thing in this whole thing that annoyed me was when I first got there, and this young captain talked to me. He took me over to the CP and said, "You need to read this message." There was a secret message, top secret message, that said they're reinforcing the island with a battalion. When the operations officer for 2-9 got there, I told him about this message. He said, "Well, we're going to land on both sides of the island and do a link up." And I said, "That's crazy. Doing a link up under fire? Well, it'll be a deception." I said, there's a lot of people in that island. There's a battalion. He said, no, there's just a radio contingent there and some farmers. I said, "You need to read the message." I guess he didn't. And that's the kind of thing that makes you wonder. And that probably was what cost them a lot of people. Well, a lot of wounded. They only had the loony got killed right away on the shore, and they had the 3 left behind. Most of them were killed in the helicopter crashes. I don't know who issued the message. I don't remember. It didn't register even to record that for the future, because I figured he would understand, and he didn't. The other thing was, in chaos like that, somebody has to take over somewhere, and we finally got an air controller up there that was directing things and making things happen. It's just like that swift boat that pulled up on the sandbar. The guys had come out and shoot at the helicopters and stuff when they went by, and we heard this call to say, "I can take that under fire." And the air controller says, "What kind of an aircraft are you?" And he says, I'm a destroyer. I got 5-inch 54s. He said, "Take it." So the first round was a little short. The second round just was gone. What they took away. I think Gerald Ford, who only had his presidency for 18 months, he was gutsy because he was not going to let this happen, let our country be pushed around by the Cambodians who thought because we were coming out of Vietnam that we wouldn't do anything. He's a brave man. And he made it happen. He was there the whole time, apparently, in the war room, taking care of making sure things were happening. But that was a problem. Too many people way up were trying to run the operation. And like one time, the kids were talking the other day, just lieutenant's got a radio in this hand, a radio in that hand. He's trying to talk to somebody, and another radio is sticking on. That colonel wants to talk to you now. Well, too many people talk at the same time. You got to have one leader. You got to have it organized a little better. But I guess everybody was afraid this might go down badly, and they wanted to make sure we're being taken care of, and they're trying to get their side of it. But for us, it was straightforward. For them, it was major confusion. And I respect the heck out of them. They're great kids. And one of them is one of my best buddies now. If his phone rings at midnight, I know who it is.